Today, I want to go over a very important concept, and that is pace when it comes to studying. So there's a subtle lesson that I've learned over many years of studying different subjects. And so this lesson can best be given from this analogy of the headphones. And so if you've ever had a pair of the headphones that are with the aux cord and your phone, you'll remember that when things get jumbled, when it gets into a knot, by untying it too fast, what happens is rather than actually untying it, you create unnecessary problems. You might create additional knots. You might tighten the knots that already exist, but because you're going too fast, you're overcomplicating the situation. If, on the other hand, you go too slow, you untie it too slow, what happens is you might get too frustrated and not even finish. That's why when covering the material, there's an important middle ground when it comes to our pacing. We need to essentially find a good pace where we complete all of the material, but we don't go too fast where we miss out on concepts. And so let's say here's chapter 1, 2, 3 in your lessons. And let's say you go over chapter 1, but you go over it so fast that you only pick up 60% of the material, right? And so there's 40% left over. And then there's another chapter, again, you go through 60% and 40% is left over. And another chapter, you go over 60% and 40% is left over. Over time, these missing pieces that you did not cover because you were going too fast start to catch up with you. They start to compile, add up, and then it creates unnecessary problems down the road. Whereas if you go too slow and you're focused on getting 100%, the problem with that is there are other chapters. So you might really get this first chapter down, but guess what? There's another 100% and another 100% from the other chapters that you didn't even make it through. And so when going through our material, even when going through practice problems, there's got to be the right pace where it's not too fast and not too slow, because if it's too fast, you're going to create problems down the road. You went through things too quickly. You didn't pick up the understanding behind each problems. And so when you see them again, you have difficulty answering them. Whereas if you go too slow and you're combing over every question, what happens is you won't have time to get through all of them. And so it's a very important concept for us to internalize, which is getting our pacing correct. We want to be able to go through all of the material and at the same time go through it in a way where we retain it. And so there's a difference between haste versus speed. Haste is uncontrolled. Haste is going too fast, rushing it. There's an element of rush there and you can feel it. Speed is controlled, deliberate, focused, covering a lot of ground. They're two different things. And so we want to have speed. We don't want to move with haste.